Alright, ladies and nerds, it's that time of the year again. Holidays are officially here, so it's time for my yearly, last-minute holiday video game shopping guide. This is going to be a basic shopping guide covering three main topics: video games, video game consoles, and video game accessories. And in this video, I'm going to be discussing the Nintendo Switch, Sony PlayStation, and Microsoft Xbox. Most of the items I'm going to be talking about today should be available for purchase in most retailer stores within the electronics section, or they'll be available to purchase on the online stores, or I also recommend checking out any local video game stores in your area. So before you commit to purchasing an item, I recommend asking basic questions. What game do you want? Ask for a picture of the game if needed. What console do you own? Video games can be very confusing, so making sure you're buying the right product is very important. For example, Final Fantasy series has 6 different games on the market right now, so getting a very specific title is essential. Also, make sure to keep all of your receipts. Mistakes happen, that's okay, you can just return it and get something else. Alright, let's start talking about video games, and keep in mind, it's impossible for me to play every single one of these games. These are the big title releases from this year, 2024, that most people can enjoy, and that the general public can all agree these are good games. And also be aware, most video games these days are either going to be around $60 to $70, but there should be a lot of holiday sales going on right now. So Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is one of the best games that was released in 2024. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a follow-up to Final Fantasy VII Remake from 2020. Rebirth has you playing as Cloud and his buddies in an action-adventure RPG with open-world elements. Any gamer can spend dozens of hours playing this game and enjoying it. This game looks even more beautiful and even more fun than the original, and this was a candidate to win 2024 Game of the Year. This game is for PS5. Call of Duty was the main inspiration for this video because there is a new Call of Duty almost every single year. If you want the most modern Call of Duty from 2024, you're going to want to go with Call of Duty Black Ops 6. This released on the PS5 and Xbox Series. Prince of Persia: Lost Crown released for the Xbox, PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch. This is a 2D action-adventure platforming puzzle game, or what we call for short, a Metroidvania. This game has time-bending puzzles and fast action and combat. This game can be enjoyed by anybody. Last of Us Part 2 remastered for the PS5. The original game released on the PS4 a few years ago, and this is an update with a few new features. If your person already owns the PS4 version, they can upgrade with the PS5 version for only $10. This game was one of the best games released on the PS4, and this has some of the best combat and stealth mechanics I have ever experienced in a video game. Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth is for PlayStation and Xbox. This game is difficult to explain. It's a role-playing game with quirky elements, silly mini-games, with some serious gameplay and strategic combat. It looks fun. Tekken 8 for the PS5 and Xbox Series X. The fighting community seemed to really enjoy this new entry in the long-running fighting series. And this game won 2024 award for Best Fighting Game. Helldivers 2 is probably the best multiplayer action game of 2024. This is a multiplayer team shooter for the PS5. And note, playing online requires a subscription service that we'll talk more about later. The Lantro looks interesting. I don't really know how to explain it other than it's a very interesting and fresh take on the classic game of poker. This game was nominated for 2024 Game of the Year, and I also think for Independent Game of the Year, so that has to mean something. PS4, PS5, Switch, and Xbox, and even on your phone. Pacific Drive is a very unique survival game where you have to investigate supernatural elements and your only safe space is driving in your station wagon on PS5. Unicorn Overlord has a silly name and it's probably not what you'd think. It's an epic fantasy RPG with a fun battle system and great art style. PlayStation, Switch, and Xbox. Hi-Fi Rush was previously only available on the Xbox, but now it's available on PS5. This is a great rhythm action game with amazing music. I've heard good and mediocre things about Dragon's Dogma 2. It does look very interesting. This is an action role-playing video game at a fantasy open world with a heavy emphasis on allies to assist you. PS5 and Xbox. Princess Peach Showtime looks like the perfect game for any kid who owns a Switch, or anyone who's a really big Peach fan. Rise of the Ronin looks like a very interesting game. It takes inspiration from many well-known action video games. I've heard the gameplay is good, but the graphics are not very good. This game takes place in an open-world 19th century Japan when the Western influence was growing. You can wield original weapons like katanas or more modern weapons like 19th century guns for PS5. Pepper Grinder looks like a really cool video game. It kind of reminds me of original Dig Dug mixed with modern Metroidvania games. This is for PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. Another Crab's Treasure is a great game. It's silly, it's quirky, it's fun, it's lighthearted, it's badass, it's intense, it's filled with action. Great game for anyone for all ages. The game difficulty can be a bit of a problem though for younger people. PS5, Switch, and Xbox. Stellar Blade is my personal 2024 game of the year. This game is freaking amazing. I could talk about this game for 10 minutes. You are an android lady thrown into a post-apocalyptic Earth with biological, genetic, engineered monsters with hack-and-slash combat. The gameplay is fast and intense, and the music is probably some of the best music I've ever heard in a video game. The visuals and graphics might be some of the best I've ever seen on the PS5. The story isn't amazing, but it's fine. There are some plot twists and emotional moments. This game is amazing. This game is definitely only appropriate for older teenagers and adults. Animal Well is a very unique game. There is no combat or fighting. You just travel these beautifully designed areas as a little dude. Your little dude escapes dangers, solves puzzles, and meets other animals. Switch, Xbox, and PS5. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is another very unique video game. You play as a woman who suffers from schizophrenia in the northern European country during the 9th century. As you play, you will experience a lot of sensations that will have you questioning what's real and what's not. You will hear numerous voices in Senua's head. This game is best enjoyed with earbuds or with headphones. The game has combat, puzzles, thrilling, and suspenseful moments. This is one of the best looking games on the Xbox. Paper Mario 1000 Year Door is a remake of one of the most beloved video games from the GameCube in 2004. Now it is available on the Nintendo Switch with newer graphics and some newly added details. This is not a traditional Mario game. Instead, it goes for a role-playing, turn-based style game. To play Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, you need to first purchase the base game of Elden Ring, and then you can download Shadow of the Erdtree as an add-on. This downloadable content is the size or even bigger than most full-size video games released these days. You have the option of buying Elden Ring with the DLC included if you're able to find it, or buy Elden Ring and then purchase the DLC separately. Elden Ring is one of my favorite video games of all time, and the DLC is amazing. This is for PS5 and Xbox. EA Sports College Football 25 is a big deal for the fact we have not received a college football game since 2013. This is by no means a perfect game, but it's college football. It's fun for any football fan. You can play as over 100 college teams all across the country. I spent an embarrassingly large amount of hours playing this game, building a dynasty with my LSU Tigers, Xbox Series, and PS5. Black Myth Wukong is an awesome video game. You play as a monkey in a story based on Journey to the West. This game is action-packed with badass combat and challenging boss fights. PS5 and Xbox Series X. Astrobot is a feel-good game. It's just a good time. This won 2024 Game of the Year. It's a video game based on an original PlayStation mascot, and you explore the world of PlayStation. It's a platformer with some light action. You experience cameos from previous PlayStation projects. Anyone from any age group can enjoy this game for the PS5. Last game I'm going to talk about today is Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and this is a big deal because as far as I know, this is the very first Zelda game where the main protagonist you play as is actually Zelda. Most Zelda games you play as the hero, better known as Link. Zelda here plays as a traditional Zelda game, but with 3D graphics and a lot of spell casting and puzzle solving and exploring for the Nintendo Switch. Alright, I would love to talk about more games that came out this year and from previous years, but then this video would be 20 minutes long. So real quick, I'm just gonna put on the screen other games I can recommend that came out this year, 2024, and from previous years. Alright, now let's finally talk about actually purchasing one of these consoles, the PS5, the Xbox, and the Nintendo Switch. And keep in mind, each console usually has different versions of itself, and I'll try to explain each one. For example, the Switch has the normal Switch, the Switch OLED model, and the Switch Lite. Now, the normal Switch can be found for around $300, and this can be played in handheld mode or played on your TV. The Switch uses Joy-Con controllers connected and taken off on the side, and the Switch OLED can do everything the normal Switch can, but just a little bit better. It has better speakers, better storage, a better kickstand, the screen is a little bigger and has an OLED screen. This device is only worth the extra cost if you're going to be playing in handheld mode. Played on the TV, you're not going to experience much of a difference. This goes for around $350. And then the last one, the Switch Lite, is going to be a handheld only device. It cannot be connected to your TV. It is all one solid unit. Joy-Cons cannot be connected on the sides, and this goes for around $200. My personal advice, buy a normal Switch if it will be used for the family, hooked up to the living room or something like that. Buy an OLED for a teenager or an adult, and then buy the Lite for a kid. Now keep in mind, when you're shopping for a Switch, you might come across a couple that have different designs and patterns on them, and they don't always come with a game included. For example, the Zelda version of the Switch does not come with Zelda the game. It's only a pattern and a design on the Switch itself. So just make sure to read the fine print on the box to see if the box comes with a game or not, or if it's just a design. Now we're moving on to PlayStation. Now when you're buying a PlayStation, make sure that you're reading the box, because there are going to be different versions that have a disc drive that can play DVDs, Blu-rays, and discs. And there's going to be digital only versions that have no disc drive included. And if it's digital only, that means you have to download games over the internet or stream them over the internet. And a separate disc drive could be purchased and then connected to your PlayStation if you want, but that's just unnecessary and another cost, and that's $80. So if you're shopping for a PlayStation, usually the black box is going to indicate digital only, and the white box is going to indicate this comes with a disc drive. And now we can finally talk about the PS5 Pro, which is a very weird system. It technically is the most advanced system the PlayStation has ever released. It has double amount of storage of the regular PS5. The processing power is better, the visuals are better with more resolution and more frame rates. The games overall should load a lot faster and look a lot better. But the PS5 Pro has two glaring issues I cannot ignore. It is $700, $200 more than the regular model, and it is only digital. It does not come with a disc drive, which is just so weird to me. Personally, I cannot excuse the PS5 Pro not coming with a disc drive because it is $200 more. So if you want a PS5 Pro with a disc drive, you gotta purchase it separately, and that brings the cost to $780. I personally do not recommend the PS5 Pro. If it's like the only thing you can find, then sure, go ahead. Just be aware of the extra cost. I personally recommend just buying a regular PS5. Now we come to the Xbox, which technically has 4 different versions, and just like with the PS5, it comes with a digital only system and then a system that has a disc drive included. But the big difference here is the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. The Series X has more power, more frame rates, better internal hardware, and the Xbox Series S is a more affordable model, which is a little weaker in the internal hardware. So the best system obviously is going to be the Xbox Series X with the disc drive. It's going to be the best bang for your buck. But if your person is okay with a more affordable console, the Xbox Series S is definitely a good option to have. Like, I own my Xbox Series X and I love it, but my wife has a Series S and she loves it just for the fact that she can play Call of Duty on there. Alright, we're going into the last category, which is video game accessories. The 2 biggest accessories I can recommend you are extra controllers for the console that your person owns, or a gift card. And yes, I know a gift card may not be as special as buying like an actual physical gift themselves, but it is the most easiest, stress-free, and convenient option you have. For example, you can buy them 2 different gift cards, like a gift card to go into a store and they can buy whatever they want themselves, like a Target gift card, Fred Meyer, Kroger gift card, Walmart gift card, Best Buy gift card. Give them a gift card, they can go into the store themselves and pick out what they want or they need. Or you can buy them a digital gift card. They can take that gift card, put the funds on their console themselves, and buy a game online. They can download it over the internet. Or the funds from that gift card can also pay for their online subscription services. Like I mentioned earlier, to play video games online with your buddies, you have to pay for a subscription every single month. It kind of sucks, but that's just the world we live in. And each individual online subscription service offers different perks. Like, they give the payer hundreds of games to play as long as their subscription is active. And like I mentioned earlier, I also recommend buying a controller for your person. Any gamer will appreciate having a backup controller or just extra controllers in case there's breaks or theirs get lost or they want to play with a buddy or something like that. Also, a lot of different controllers come in different colors and designs, and they just look cool. Now, each console is going to have their own dedicated controller that's made by their own manufacturer, like PlayStation, Xbox, and obviously the Switch. But you will be able to find other companies making controllers that are compatible with those consoles. Like, for example, the Hori controllers can play on the Switch. And besides controllers, I'm going to put a bunch of different accessories on the screen right now. Pause if you want to see them. These are other additional items I think I can recommend for any gamer. Alright everybody, that is going to conclude my 2024 holiday shopping guide for video games. Thank you for watching. Let me know if my guide helped you at all. Leave a like if you can. Leave a comment. Let me know what you're going to buy your person. And if I helped you at all, please let me know. I am curious. And look forward to my 2025 holiday shopping guide. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.